Welcome to Go Bear's Diecast workshop. This happens to be a build-off between myself and Paul from Diecast Graveyard. We decided on the 65 Ford Ranchero as our project, and the only rules were that we do a wheel swap and a color change. Remember, if you like what you see, subscribe and ring that bell for future videos. At this point, I have the casting taken apart. These are the various pieces. It does have a clear windshield, which is great, black base, and the chrome interior. Next, it'll be going into the stripper to get rid of the paint off of the diecast itself. Now I've gotten it out of the stripper, and I am going over the body with a brass wire wheel on my tack life. I use a tack life because it's a lot gentler, because it's not as powerful as the Dremel, especially if you don't have a Dremel that has the variable speed to it. Now I will go over the entire casting, making sure I get rid of any leftover paint that may have been sticking to the casting in small crevices. I will use various tools to clean up the casting, get rid of any cast lines and any defects in the body. I did notice that right behind the door there was a cast line on the upper quarter panel near the bed, which has a Tondo cover or a cover on it. Next, I'm going to be switching over to some steel wool just to start the polishing process. Due to the fact that I'm not sure exactly which direction I'm going with color, I want to make sure that if I do pick Spectra Flame or something, I have the body prepped accordingly. Once you finish using the steel wool, I usually start out with some 320 grit sandpaper and work my way up depending on which direction I'm going with the paint. As you can see, I'm making sure that I don't miss any areas on the casting itself. I'm taking a good look at it to make sure that I didn't miss anything, and now I'm going to start with that 320 grit sandpaper. You can step it up and from 320 to 400 to 600. I mean, I've heard of guys going all the way to 2000 grit if they want a mirror shine, and coming back and polishing it up with some metal polish. Right now I'm not exactly sure which way I'm going, but I want to make sure I get it where I want it. As you can see, here's a mock-up. There's the wheel change, and the body is pretty much close to a mirror finish. I had not put any polish on it. This is just wet sanding, and I went through to 1000 grit. Next to the paint booth. So here I've got it ready, got it on my helping hands. I'm starting to spray the primer. I'm just using the Tamiya gray primer. I'm going to cover all areas of the body. I'll make sure you get some kind of sealer or primer. Some people use a sealer. inspecting it really well to make sure I didn't miss any areas. Next, I'm coming back with the top coat. I did decide to go with a white top coat. You want to come in with a light coat and then come back with a couple of medium coats, and finally you'll have your heavy coat. You do have a little bit of downtime between coats, just making sure that it tacks up. Otherwise you're going to get runs or sags. There, I'm coming back with my second coat. You can see the passes are a little bit slower, allowing it to be a little bit heavier. Making sure I'm getting underneath wheel wells. I'm not going to show you every bit of the painting because I want it to be a surprise when we do the reveal, but there is a big surprise at the end. I just want to remind everybody where we started. This was the original look of the casting before I started redoing it. And just a little story. I did not know exactly where I was going to go with this, but then it hit me, and I wanted to do something that represented me. So once you see the final reveal, it'll give you a little key about a little of my history. And here it is. I was in the Air Force. Was Rosie the Riveter, so to speak. Corrosion in sheet metal. So I wanted to do something representative of that. And this is what I came up with. Hope you guys enjoy it. And remember, subscribe and hit the like button. I'd like to thank Paul from Diecast Graveyard for the opportunity to do a build-off with him. You guys make sure you go and check it out on his channel. I know he probably did an awesome job. Thanks again, Paul.